Hey everyone, welcome back to the podcast. It is so good to have you here with us again. I am Maya.
And I am Leo. How is everyone doing today? We hope you are having a fantastic week.
It is going pretty well over here, Leo, although I have to say, I am staring at this thing on your desk right now, and I am a little bit confused.
You are staring at my new toy? This little machine thing?
Yeah, that thing. What is it exactly? It looks like, I don't know, maybe a mixer or something from a spaceship?
To be honest, I am not really sure. My brother gave it to me. He said it's for making juice, but I think it might be for mixing eggs. It's kind of weird, actually.
It looks kind of dangerous, too. Those spinning parts look sharp. I wouldn't put my fingers in there.
Definitely not. I tried to use it this morning to make a smoothie, and it made this terrible noise, like a screaming cat. I was afraid it was going to break, so I stopped. Maybe I'm using it wrong.
Maybe, or maybe it's just a bad machine. It looks a little bit cheap, to be honest. Sorry, Leo.
It's okay. It was a gift. It was free, so I can't complain too much. But listening to us talk right now, we are using a lot of words like maybe, kind of, a little bit, I think.
We are, aren't we? We're not saying it is a mixer. We're saying it might be a mixer. We're not saying it is dangerous. We're saying it looks a little bit dangerous. We're softening our words.
Exactly. And that's what we want to chat about today. Not grammar rules, no homework, just how to speak softly, how to be careful with your opinions so you sound nice, like a normal human being having a chat.
Right, because if you're too strong in English, it can sound a little bit aggressive. Like if I say, "That is a terrible machine. It's ugly. Throw it away." That sounds mean, right?
That sounds very mean. You hurt my feelings, Maya.
I don't want to hurt your feelings. So I say, it is interesting, or it might not be the best machine.
And I say, I think it's for juice. I leave space for error because I'm a human and I might be wrong.
We all might be wrong. That's the fun part of life. So today we're just going to hang out and talk about different situations where we need this soft language. Situations like food, fashion, work, and friends. Real life stuff.
Sounds good. Let's start with food. Food is the easiest place to practice this. Everyone eats, right?
Absolutely, and everyone has eaten something they didn't like. But when you're eating at someone's house or at a restaurant with friends, you have to be polite.
Tell me about a time you had to eat something you hated, but you had to smile.
Oh, there are so many times. Okay, last year I went to a dinner party at my neighbor's house. She's very nice, but she's not a great cook. She made I think it was a soup, but it was purple, bright purple.
Purple soup? Was it made of beets?
Maybe, or maybe grapes? I have no idea. But she served it to me and she looked so happy. She said, "I made this special recipe just for you." And I looked at it and I thought, oh no, this is going to be bad.
What did you do? Did you run away?
I wanted to, but I couldn't. So I took a deep breath, I smiled, I took a spoonful, and it was terrible. It was very sour and it had a strange texture, kind of slimy.
Slimy soup? That's the worst.
It was really bad, but I couldn't say this is slimy and terrible, so I swallowed it and I said, "Wow, that's very interesting."
Interesting. The magic word.
It is the best word. Then I said, "It has a very unique taste. I'm not used to this flavor, but it's certainly different." I didn't say it was good, I just said it was different.
That's perfect. I'm not used to this flavor is a great phrase. It means I don't like it, but it sounds like it's my fault, not the cook's fault. Like my taste buds are the problem.
Exactly. And then I just ate a lot of bread. I tried to fill up on bread so I wouldn't have to eat more soup.
Smart move. What about spicy food? I had a similar situation with spicy food. I went to a restaurant with a friend who loves spicy food. He ordered a super hot curry. He said, "Try it, Leo. It's not that hot."
And was it hot?
It was like fire. My mouth was burning. I was crying. I couldn't speak. But he was looking at me, waiting for my opinion. He was so proud of this curry.
So what did you say? Did you say, "This is burning my mouth"?
No, I tried to be cool. I drank some water, and I said, "Wow, that is quite spicy." I said quite, which is an understatement. It was very spicy.
Quite is a good word for that. Or, it is a little bit hotter than I expected.
Yes, I said, it is a little bit strong for me. That is polite. Strong is better than terrible. So I said it was strong, and then I ordered a giant milkshake to cool down.
Survival. Okay, so food is one thing. What about fashion? That is even harder because people wear their clothes. They look in the mirror and think they look good. If they ask you, "Do I look good?" and you say no, you break their heart.
Yeah, fashion is tricky. I remember when I was about maybe 16 years old, I bought a bright green hat, a baseball cap, but it was neon green, like a traffic light.
Oh no, please tell me you wore it.
I wore it everywhere. I thought I was so cool. One day I wore it to school, and my best friend Sam looked at me. He didn't say you look stupid. He was a good friend. He said, "Leo, that hat is very loud."
Very loud. That is funny. It means it gets too much attention.
Exactly. He said, "It is maybe a bit too bright for a Tuesday." I laughed, but I got the message. He wasn't mean, he was just saying it was too much. He used maybe and a bit.
That is a good friend, because a true friend tells you the truth, but gently. So if I see you wearing a terrible shirt today, Leo, I would say, that shirt is interesting. Maybe not my favorite style.
Not my favorite style. That is the classic polite way to say, I hate it. We use not my favorite for everything. Movies, food, clothes.
It is very useful. Oh, that movie was not my favorite. That song is not my favorite. It is much softer than it is bad.
Let's move on to work. Work is a place where you really have to be careful. You have a boss, you have coworkers. You cannot just say whatever you want.
Definitely, especially when you disagree with someone, like in a meeting. You have an idea, someone else has a different idea. You cannot say, "You are wrong."
No, that is dangerous. You have to say, "I see your point, but," or "I'm not sure if that will work."
"I see your point, but" is such a great phrase. It validates them first. You say, "I hear you." Then you give your opinion.
We had a meeting yesterday about the office party, remember?
Oh yes, the party planning.
Okay, so our boss wanted to have a karaoke contest at the office party.
Oh no, really?
Yes, he loves karaoke. But most people, well, they're shy. They don't want to sing in front of everyone. So the room went quiet. Nobody wanted to say, "No, that is a bad idea." So I had to speak up.
What did you say?
I said, "Well, that sounds like fun, but I'm not sure if everyone will feel comfortable singing on stage. Maybe we could do a trivia game instead."
I'm not sure if everyone will feel comfortable singing. That is perfect. You're thinking about the team. You're not attacking his idea. You're just saying, maybe not.
And he listened. He said, you might be right. He used might be.
See? If I had said karaoke is a terrible idea, nobody wants to do it, he might have gotten angry. But because you said, I'm not sure, he listened to your reason.
It's all about the tone. We use these words to be professional. Another common one at work is, it seems like.
Oh yes, it seems like there's a mistake instead of you made a mistake.
Right. If I see a mistake in your report, I say, Maya, it seems like this number is wrong. Maybe we should check it.
It seems like is so gentle. It's not a fact. It's just an observation. It gives you a chance to fix it without feeling bad.
Being polite at work actually makes you more effective. People trust you more. If you're always shouting and saying, no, wrong, bad, people stop listening to you.
Exactly. They think you are difficult. But if you're soft and careful, people think you are wise. You are a team player.
Okay, let's talk about something more fun. Travel.
Travel. I love traveling. But it's full of uncertainty, right? Flights are delayed, hotels are different than the photos, weather changes, so we use maybe and might all the time when we travel.
Absolutely. You cannot say we will arrive at 5 p.m. You have to say, we should arrive around 5 p.m. depending on traffic.
Depending on is a great phrase. It means the result is not certain. It depends on other things.
I remember a trip I took to London a few years ago. I was planning to go to a big outdoor market. I asked the hotel receptionist, is it going to be sunny tomorrow?
And what did he say?
He looked out the window. He looked at the gray sky. He said, well, it might be sunny in the morning, but I think it will probably rain in the afternoon.
Probably. That means very likely, but not 100%.
Right. So I packed an umbrella. And guess what? It rained all day. It never stopped. But I was ready.
Because you hedged your bet. You listened to the probably.
Also, when you are traveling, you often ask strangers for help. You have to be polite then, too. You don't walk up to someone and say, "Where's the train station?" It sounds like an order.
It sounds rude, like a police officer.
Exactly. You have to say, "Excuse me, could you tell me where the train station is? I think it is near here, but I'm not sure."
Adding, I think it is near here, shows you are trying. You are not just lazy. And could you tell me is much softer than where is.
Could you and would you are the magic keys for asking for help. They make everything sound like a request, not a demand.
Let's switch gears to relationships, friends and family. Sometimes the people closest to us are the hardest to talk to.
That is true. We care about them, so we worry about hurting their feelings. But also, sometimes we fight with them.
Have you ever had a fight with your brother or sister?
Oh, yes. My sister and I used to fight about the TV remote all the time.
What did you fight about? Which show to watch?
Yeah, she wanted to watch a reality show about fashion. I wanted to watch a football game. And I used to shout, "Give me the remote, I want to watch football."
That sounds like a teenage boy.
It was. And she would shout back, "No way, fashion TV is on now." It was a war. But now we're older, we're smarter. If we visit each other now and we want to watch different things, we say, "Do you mind if we watch the game for a bit? We can watch your show later."
Do you mind if? That is excellent. It asks for permission. It is very polite.
Or I might say, "I'm kind of in the mood for sports today. Would that be okay?" It sounds like a suggestion, not a fight.
In the mood for. That is a good phrase. It means I feel like doing this. It's about your feeling, not about what is right or wrong.
And usually she's okay with it, because I asked nicely. I didn't demand it. I softened my request.
It's amazing how much language affects our relationships. If I say to my husband, "You never help me clean the house," that starts a big fight. It's an attack.
That is fighting words.
Exactly. But if I say, "I feel like I'm doing a lot of cleaning lately. Maybe you could help me a little bit more," that's a conversation starter. It's sharing my feeling.
I feel like that is a powerful hedge. It shifts the focus from "you are wrong" to "I have a feeling." Nobody can argue with your feelings.
Exactly. My feelings are my feelings. So using I feel or I think protects you. It makes your opinion personal, not a universal truth.
We should also talk about giving advice. People love giving advice, but people hate receiving it.
That is so true. I never want advice. I just want people to listen.
Right. So if your friend comes to you with a problem like, "My boss is mean to me," you shouldn't say, "Quit your job tomorrow." That's too strong.
Too strong and maybe bad advice.
So you say, "Have you thought about talking to him? Or maybe looking for a new job? I'm not sure, but it might be an option."
I might be an option. That leaves the choice with them. You're just offering a possibility.
"Have you thought about" is also very gentle. It makes them think for themselves.
I remember my friend wanted to dye her hair pink, bright pink, and she asked me what I thought. I don't think pink hair looks good on her. It doesn't match her skin.
So what did you say? You said, "Don't do it"?
No, I said, "That's a big change. It could be really cool, but are you sure? Maybe try a wig first, just to see."
A wig, that's a smart advice. "It could be really cool" is positive. "Are you sure" makes her think. Maybe try a wig is a safe step.
She did the pink hair anyway.
Did she like it?
Actually, she hated it. She washed it out the next day. But she didn't blame me because I didn't tell her to do it. I just asked if she was sure.
You were smart. You protected yourself.
I tried. Let's talk a little bit about technology. We all use phones and computers. Sometimes things don't work.
Technology is frustrating. When my computer is slow, I get angry. I want to throw it.
But imagine you are at work and the IT guy comes to fix your computer. He is trying his best. You shouldn't say, "This computer is garbage. Fix it now."
No, he might not fix it then. He might just leave. So you say, "It seems to be running a bit slow today. I'm not sure why."
It seems to be running a bit slow. It sounds like a minor issue. It is polite.
Also, when you're texting people, texting is hard because you don't have a voice. You can't hear the tone.
That is true. So we use emojis and soft words. If someone texts me, "Where are you?" it sounds like they are angry, like, "Where are you?"
Yes, scary. But if they say, "Hey, just wondering, where are you? No rush," that is nice.
Just wondering and no rush. Those are text message hedges. They make everything better.
I was wondering if you were free later is a good way to ask someone out on a date. It is low pressure. If they say no, it is not a big deal.
Exactly. I was wondering. It is very casual. What about when someone cancels plans? That happens to me a lot.
It happens to everyone. People get busy, they get sick. If a friend cancels dinner, you might be disappointed, but you say, "It's okay. Maybe we can meet next week instead."
Maybe we can... You're keeping the door open. You're not saying, "Fine, never talk to me again." You're saying, "Let's try again."
It is all about keeping the relationship good, prioritizing the friendship over the specific plan.
We have covered so much today. Food, fashion, work, travel, family, advice, technology, texting.
It's everywhere. You really cannot speak English without these little words. They're like the oil in the engine. Without them, the language gets stuck. It makes a screeching noise, like my purple soup mixer.
Exactly. With them, the language runs smooth. It is comfortable.
I think the most important thing to remember is that you don't have to be sure all the time. It's okay to be uncertain. In fact, it's more natural.
Yes, be confident but humble. Say what you think, but leave room for other people.
And don't worry about using them perfectly. Just try one. Next time you want to say no, try saying, "I don't think so," or "maybe not."
Or next time you want to say, "I don't like this," try saying, "It's not really my thing," or "It's a bit unusual."
Not really my thing is one of my favorites. It is so useful.
Me too. I use it all the time. Is that heavy metal music? Not really my thing.
Well, Maya, I think we're about done for today. I have to go. I think I have a meeting soon. Or maybe it's lunchtime. I should check my calendar.
You are uncertain about your own schedule, Leo. That's okay.
I'm living the lesson. I'm hedging.
Perfect. Thank you so much for listening, everyone. We hope this chat helped you. Just remember, be kind with your words. Be soft. Use maybe, kind of, a bit, I think. It makes the world a friendlier place.
And makes you sound like a pro. See you next time, guys. Take care.
Bye. Have a great week.
Bye.